When you're ready to print your score, you can visit the File tab, Print. You can also use Command-P on Mac or Control-P on Windows to access this dialog. There are quite a few options listed on the left side of the print dialog, with a preview of your score on the right. If you scroll to the very bottom of the print dialog, there's a scroll bar on the right-hand side. Then there will be two options available below the preview pane that will affect the view of your score in the print dialog. On the left-hand side, you will have navigation buttons. These are for viewing the different pages of your score. So if I want to view page 2 in my preview, I can click the arrow to the right, and here's page 3. On the right-hand side, you'll find a zoom slider for zooming your score preview in and out. Now, sometimes these options are way out of view on your screen, so it's important to scroll down and see that they're there for you in case you want to use them. If you scroll back up to the top of the print dialog, in the print area on the left, make sure that the box is checked next to Print Full Score, and adjust the number of copies that you'd like to print. I'm going to leave mine set to 1. Take note here of the large Print button. After setting the remaining options in this window, you'll need to scroll all the way back up to this area to click that button to print. Just below the Print button is the Printer section. This is where you'll choose your printer. There's also a link to your printer's properties, which will open in a traditional Windows or Mac system window. Scrolling down a little bit, the Settings area of the print dialog is where you can decide on printed page settings, such as the page numbers you'd like to print, the order, the orientation, which needs to match your score's orientation, and settings for printing double-sided and for printing multiple copies. In the Pages area, you have 3 options to choose from for printing the pages of your score. Print All Pages will print all of the pages of your score. Print Current Page will print the page that is currently in view in the preview area of the print dialog. And Print Range allows you to specify either a single page or range of pages that you'd like to print. The second drop-down menu in the Settings area of the print dialog allows you to set the page order, scale, and number of pages per sheet. For most beginning Sibelians, the normal setting is sufficient. If you'd like to experiment with the other settings in this drop-down menu, simply choose them, then view the results in the print dialog's preview area and decide if you'd like to use them or not. Always make sure that the print dialog's orientation setting matches that of your Sibelius score. Choose either the portrait or landscape orientation. Scores automatically default to print one-sided. Depending on the capabilities of your printer, you can choose to manually print both sides or automatically print both sides, allowing you to print a two-sided score. If you're printing multiple copies of your score, you can choose to print collated, one full copy of your score at a time, or uncollated, multiple copies of each page of your score at a time. Finally, if you find that you need additional options or if any of the Sibelius options are not quite working as they should, you can click the Page Setup button to find additional page setup options. For example, if you're struggling with the orientation setting of your score during printing, make sure that the orientation setting in Page Setup matches your score and print settings. I've particularly had issues with this setting on Mac when printing in landscape. Continuing to scroll down, the Scale feature within the print dialog allows you to scale the size of your score up or down. If used in conjunction with Spreads, which is found up in the Settings area, you can fit 2 pages of your score on one printed page. If you're new to Sibelius printing, leave the Fit to Paper checkbox checked and your scale set to 100%. The Add section allows you to select additional options that you can add to your printed score. The Date and Time footer prints the date and time at the bottom of every page. The border prints a thin border around the page. Crop marks are for professional publishing. These point to corners of the page on oversized paper that will be trimmed. And beware of the view options. Any options turned on in your View tab, such as highlighters, hidden objects, invisibles, and things like that, will print if this box is checked. Windows systems will also have a Print in Color option. If that is checked, any colored object that appears on the screen will be printed in color. On the Mac, you'll see a button labeled Use OS Dialog. This button opens the Mac system's print dialog. And finally, after you've made all of the appropriate settings, you'll need to scroll way back up to the top of the dialog and click Print.